I will no longer be the host of the Locked On Big 12 podcast. That is because on Monday night, I did an instant reaction show to the comments from Bob Huggins on a Cincinnati radio station. I made the conscious decision to play Bob Huggins' comments in their entirety and also without censoring the slurs that he used. I did that because I thought it was important to play and get the full context of what he had said. I followed that up by saying I thought what he had said was abhorrent. I thought it was hateful. And also, I had said that if I were the AD, I would have fired him, and I would not want somebody like that espousing those views coaching my team.
This is Josh Neighbors. He took to Twitter to state he had been let go for not censoring the anti-gay slurs West Virginia head men's basketball coach Bob Huggins used in a radio interview.
Bob Huggins, what are you doing? He can't survive that.
Well, ironically,
the folks at Locked On felt differently. They felt because I was willingly posting hate speech, which I did. I was not using the hate speech. I was obviously trying to combat it and say it's terrible and awful and should not happen. But to play it, to give the full context and give the folks a chance to hear it all, I did make the choice to play that. David Locke and company sent me an email this evening telling me that they were locking me out of the accounts. They were going to decide my future. I thought I was using my platform to combat the hate speech, to say it's unacceptable, to play its entirety, to give the effect of, oh my God, that was reckless, careless, and hateful. And it did not matter to the folks at Locked On.
Josh was fired for playing it, but Huggins wasn't fired for using it. He was asked if he was wooing Xavier players in the transfer portal. Catholics don't do that, he said. Any school that can throw rubber penises on the floor and then say they didn't do it, by God, they can get away with anything, said the Hall of Fame coach. The interview was conducted by this man, Bill Cunningham, a staunch conservative. Cunningham would reply to the penis comment, I think it was transgender night, wasn't it? Huggins, it was a crosstown shootout. Yeah, no. What it was all those anti-gay slurs, those Catholic anti-gay slurs, I think. Incredibly, after Huggins made the comment, Cunningham asked co-host Steve Muller, a former assistant of Huggins and current broadcaster for Northern Kentucky, is he the best? He's the best, Muller says. Cunningham follows that up with saying, the best ever.
If someone says a homophobic slur, you typically don't hear, isn't he the best? Like right after that.
His punishment is not being let go for using language that was never okay. Bounding into sports reported Huggins had his salary slashed by $1 million, a 3-game suspension, and sensitivity training.
The joke that you heard the hosts make of transgender night, I mean, that's the proverbial boogeyman right now with this group of people, and there's this carte blanche in the same way that there was in terms of being publicly racist that was cool to come back. Being publicly homophobic seems to be perfectly fine, and Bob Huggins should not keep his job after this. Like, he flatly should not keep his job after this. And the fact that we even have to have a conversation about whether or not he might is an indictment of where we are.
Awful announcing, right or wrong. Neighbors ultimately paid the price for not censoring those comments above. His announcement now has close to 400,000 views on Twitter, though at the writing of this article, Neighbors has provided no further update, and the Locked On Podcast Network has not commented on his departure. Longtime media critic Jimmy Trana wrote in his column for Sports Illustrated, he did not use the slur by accident, as we saw with the A's broadcaster Glenn Kuiper earlier this week in reference to Huggins. He knowingly and consciously used the slur on a live radio show. This is a man who's coaching college kids. What if one of those kids is gay? Inexcusable and indefensible. Make no mistake, the bad guys in all this are Huggins, the cowards at West Virginia who didn't fire Huggins, and the fool who runs Locked On Big 12, not Neighbors. Whoever runs Locked On Big 12 should be ashamed and embarrassed, and someone in sports media needs to make this right and hire Neighbors ASAP.